I've always said that it takes courage and strength to be empathetic. And I'm very proudly an empathetic, compassionately driven politician. We teach kindness and empathy and compassion to our children, but then we somehow, when it comes to political leadership, want a complete absence of that. So I am trying to chart a different path that will attract critics, but I can only be true to myself in the form of leadership that I believe in.
Kayo bang mga Maria Clara, mga huli at mga sisa, na di marunong na
Welcome back, and you are still watching live here in the Filipinos World. We have our guest live here in the Filipinos World. A very, very good friend of mine, has been such a great guide to the fashion world as well as life. So without further ado, I would like and am honored to introduce to you all and welcome to Filipinos World Director, Eventologist, Raymond Villanueva, or as known as Direct Raymond or Tito Raymond to many. Good afternoon and welcome.
Hi there. Good afternoon, Mafae. Good afternoon also to Agnes Cagayan de Oro. I'm here in Manila right now, and it is my pleasure to be with all the Filipinos all over the world.
Yes, and we are so privileged to have you. We know that you are also busy with many things, but just to start off so that we can really introduce you to the world, I have a few questions, and I will start with, as a fashion director, what is your view on whether it is important to be fashionable nowadays or not? After what happened during this pandemic crisis, is it still relevant?
You know, actually, Mafae, Agnes, I was just asked that question a few weeks ago in another interview. Fashion, there's this quote that I really love about fashion. Fashion can be bought, but style you must possess. So fashion, it's an industry, and we have to have that industry. The pandemic has brought this industry to its knees. A lot of people lost their jobs in the industry. We're not talking about only the designers, but the workers, the textiles manufacturers, everyone involved. But in the end, I always say, the style will always prevail because style is eternal.
I totally agree with you. And of course, we're here also in fashion right now and exuding that positivity, right? So, Direct Raymond, how do people usually choose their clothes?
Going back to fashion, as I've been in the business for 25 years. Mafae was one of my top models in Manila. And I always believed in the Filipino designer. But the pandemic, like you mentioned a while, I just like to repeat that. The pandemic has given us new insights already. For example, we all know for a fact that we still cannot go out. Here in Manila, we cannot go out, but in Mafae, right? So what we're trying to do is pivot ourselves to different areas to do fashion, to sell fashion. It is a lifestyle pa rin. Recently, Andre Leon Talley, the creative director of American Vogue, passed away. And there was one quote that really stuck to my mind. And he said, whatever happens, you must have grace. Because fashion, which is a little, how do I say this diplomatically? I won't say it diplomatically. Really depends on your budget. That is fashion. Okay, because everybody loves talking about fashion and style, but I always say, do you have your budget ready? Fashion is always depending. And this is Andre Leon Talley saying, on your budget or where the street that you live in.
Yes. And speaking of that, fashion does come with personality.
Yes.
So do you think that style has to be coined or referred to as identity to yourself?
Very true. Well, for example, like I mentioned, fashion you can buy, style you must possess. And then when you possess this certain style, what can you do with that style? It represents you. Again, I love Andre Leon Talley because he quoted saying, fashion is your ID card. It is your identity. Whatever you show to the world is what you show outside. Do not think of inner beauty when it comes to fashion. It's always about outer beauty when it comes to fashion. But also, Mafae, I just have to do a shout out to everyone who was hit by the industry. I love Jeanette interview a while ago and how she has really transformed herself and being at the forefront of Canadian fashion as a Filipino designer. Same also sa nangyayari sa atin na yon, diba? So importante sa mga personalities natin na ipakita na talaga kung ano ang maganda o hindi. Kasi yan ang pinaka-importante. Kasi ano ba talaga ang fashion? Lagi kong hinahanap yan. I keep asking a lot of people, ano ba talaga ang fashion? Eh, problema, wala nga ang fashion sa pandemic. We have to tell the truth. I have to tell the truth. And we talked about that, Mafae. Remember, we talked about resiliency. So the fashion industry must be resilient in adapting to the times. Kasi if half of the world doesn't want to come out, and half of the world would just like to wear shorts underneath while in front of a Zoom meeting, is that fashion or is that style?
And you know, we talked about this earlier also when I mentioned about the history of fashion with the 18th century, the 20th century, and it comes full circle because we mentioned there that fashion just comes back or it reinvents or it pivots.
Very true.
Right, direct.
You have no imagination.
Yes, exactly. But there, with the imagination aligned with it, why do you think people place too much on their appearance? Because I know there is also somewhat of a misconception on I idolize this person or the way that they wear things, but at the same time, you said we possess our own style. So why do we, as humans, place too much on our appearance? Why do we do that?
Again, I would like to quote Andre Leon Tal. It depends on where the street you live. Because they always ask me, I was asked that question, how come nobody can wear those clothes in the street? Then of course I would say, depende nga sa street na dinadaanan mo. Diba? No, but seriously, well, it was a serious anecdote. Everything is really outer. Aminin natin. I mean, before we talk to each other, before we say anything to each other, we will be judged. People who say that I will not judge you, I will not think about you, I will not even look at the shoes you're wearing, it's a liar. kasi alam mo, mga viewers, kailangan talaga natin, we have to really put into our mind, our personality. What we show to the world is what we really are. You know, whether you're malinis, mayaman, mabango, maganda, pinapakita natin yun. So, importante yun. I was asked that final question, what is fashion for me? And you know, I just said the simplest thing. Fashion is a good fit. Pag maganda ang fitting ng damit sa'yo, pag bagay sa'yo, yon ang totoong fashion. Pag hindi bagay sa'yo, hindi magandang fitting. Diba? That's why we all go to designers para sa fitting. Hindi tayo bumibili sa mall or sa shop. Kasi kailangan natin made to measure. Maganda dapat ang fitting sa atin. For me, the simplest term is fit. Pag maganda ang fitting sa iyo, fashion ka na talaga.
Yes. And as Raymond shared that measurements do evolve and we do have to submit to that. But what in fashion does not change in your eyes, Direct?
You know, to tell you the truth, I've been in the business for 25 years. I worked with a local design. I worked for a designer, the late Louis Mabengo. Nothing changes. Sa totoo lang, you know, the only thing that changes in terms of fashion, from a fashion director's point of view, not from a designer's point of view or a manufacturer's point of view, from my point of view, is that the only thing that changes is the body shape. You're Kasi sabi ng kids, you're so fashionable, you're so fabulous. Oo nga, ang laki ng puso mo. Paano yun? Di ba? So, you adapt to your body shape. Again, I'd like to quote Andre Leon Talley. Not everybody is a runway model. Not everybody has the perfect body. Not everybody is 5'8" or 5'10" in Mafae's case. So the only thing that's constantly changing is your body shape. As you grow older, the body shape changes. So your fashion sense changes also. So sa lahat ng tao na lagi nagsasabi, bakit ganito kami, bakit ganito kami, kasi nga, lumaki ang puso nyo. Basically it.
You will always smile and laugh when you're with Direct Raymond.
Really, and I'm quoting again Andre Leon Talley, the creative director for American Vogue. It's really the body shape. When people tell me, what changes did you have from the 70s to the 80s to the 90s? Ayun, the models changed. Di ba, Mafae? You've seen from the wave models of Kate Moss to the, the busty Cindy Crawford, going down to the petite models of the early years in Philippine fashion, to the glamazons. So, nag-change lang talaga ang body shape. So, yung damit, pag-change din sa shape ng tao. Eh na yun, pag 5'11 ka, pwede ka na mag-model. Pag 5'1 ka, pwede ka na rin mag-model.
And that's what's amazing about designers, especially because they understand the shape of bodies and how to make all walks of life look amazing and feel beautiful, right, Direk? So when we speak about, you've been in the industry for 25 years and you've worked with so many designers.
Yeah.
Are designs purchased according to the designer, price, value, or textile?
Okay. Although everybody sa Filipino, medyo what's this lang talaga ako. I'm very brutally frank. It really depends on your budget. Yun lang. I hope Jeanette agrees with me. Kasi, pag sinabi mo, ganito palang budget namin sa damit, yun na lang, yun talaga. Yun lang talaga. Wala na ako magagawa. But, the creativity of a designer, whether local or foreign, that's plays the difference. That makes a difference already. So ganito kahit ang budget no, but I can turn, like what's this Jeanette mentioned nga, a cortina or really simple materials to a wonderful, expensive looking material. That is the creativity of design and of the craftsmanship. Diba? So that is still for me, especially now during the pandemic, everybody wants its worth, diba? Ano ba talaga ang worth natin na yun? Diba, and we talked about that because it's called resiliency. So the designer who's very resilient will survive. The people who are resilient will survive. And all Filipinos are so resilient because the only thing that describes the Filipinos around the world, resilient. I don't know why.
And I have so much respect for Filipino designers. Both Derek and I have been working and became good friends with many of them. And this is a question that has also been asked of me because of my dress during Miss World. Are designers copying each other and just tweak or innovate of styles? What do you think, Derek Raymond?
To tell you the truth, I've been also asked that question a few weeks ago. It is called design. So, from that word designer, that is your design. Copying, per se, that's not, who talks about originality? We talk about Charles Worth, to Balenciaga, to all these designers. Who talks about originality now? Nobody in his right mind, in the whole industry, can say, I am original. I started this all. I did this all. But it is always going back to the word design. So all designers just say, design ko yan. Care ko. Yun lang. Diba? Because if not, if you're going to keep going and going over, ako nag-start na ganito. I mean, the debate until now of who took out the terno sleeves. Was it Ramon Valera? Was it Pitoy? Was it Salvation Slim? Hanggang na, it's been going on already. So it's the same thing. Basta you have the word design, that is, you stick to your own design.
I agree with that because it also builds the relationship. If a
Yeah,
designer builds their clientele because of who they are,
that's
then
right.
that's why they will keep returning,
And it's
regardless where they
individual.
were inspired, right?
It's individualism. I mean, when you go to a designer, you are made to measure. You have, one thing nice of going to couture or going to a designer is really the experience of the fittings. Before the 70s, they would tell me that the legends of Philippine fashion would tell me a fitting would last the whole afternoon. Because aside from that, you get to know each other. Diba? That is why there are some models who I cannot stand, Mafae, because they want to finish the fitting in 15 minutes.
Mm.
Diba? Remember? And when I see those models, I remember all those models when I was starting, their hips are just really big. Charing.
Well, it's all about building your network also in the industry, and that's
Yes.
the reason why Direct Raymond and I are practically family. It's because we
Yeah.
took time.
True.
We took time to get to know each other and respect also the fashion industry.
True.
And I truly believe that's how the trend in fashion is set, right? And this is my next question: who sets the trend in fashion, Direct?
That's another thing that people keep asking me. Until now, I still don't know. You know why? The last time I said that, sabi ko, the one who sets the trend in fashion also has the budget to set the trend in fashion.
It all goes back to the budget.
Yeah. This is Andre Leon Talley. Kasi pag sinabi ko, okay, what is the trend for 2022? Blue and black. Okay, the publicity, that the Pantone for 2022, even I was interviewed by Marites Allen a few weeks ago, blue and black. So if 150 people or 200 people said, oh, the collection for 2022 is blue and black, the massive budget and the massive what's this will say blue and black. You can only wear blue and black for 2022. So it really is a trend, a reaction, or a group of individuals. Because before there used to be a group of individuals who will dictate. Well, if you watch Devil Wears Prada, that famous scene, where Miranda Priestley said, the people in this room are the ones that tell you what to wear. Ba? Pero ngayon, ang problema nga, nobody can tell us anything anymore because we're all stuck at home. Nobody can see it.
and that's where we find inspiration with you.
Right now, saan? Saan ka So, I mentioned that to Agnes a while ago. We pivot ka to social media, di ba, Mafae?
Right.
Kasi if you don't look good in social media, wala lang. Ganun lang talaga ang nangyayari sa buhay natin.
And that leads me to my next question, Direct Raymond. As a fashion director and eventologist, a global one that is, how do you set the styles, including the dresses, the clothing, to wear and people who wear it?
Well, I guess that the word that in post-pandemic has been the word collab. But that has been going on for years and years and years. It's always the collaboration between the director, the designer, and the model. It all starts with that. Prior to that, it is with the textile manufacturers, it was with the manangs, the seamstress. So until now, nothing has changed. It is all collaboration. And doing mounting shows will always be that. Not a single individual can say, I made this. It is all of these individuals who made it. A model can make or break a designer's outfit. Without the model, the designer's outfit is called a hanger. It's just being hung in the showroom. Then all of a sudden, the director has to make those clothes come to life. What is it called? Proper lighting. The reason we go shopping in the mall is because if you don't have the proper lighting that shines in your clothes, it will just be an outfit being hanged on the dressing rack. So it is collaboration everywhere. And because of that collaboration, the industry has survived. Now is the time to move because there are people with so much ideas on how to sell clothes. For example, what we're doing right now is actually the new fashion show. This is what we call Zoomista because everything right now is here. The new fashion show is on video. And if you don't look good on video, if you don't pivot on video, who's going to buy your clothes? From designer brands to the local designer in Manila, lahat tayo, andito na sa social media. So, talbugan na lang tayo ng backdrop. Charing.
And you spoke about collaboration.
Yes.
Again, Direct Raymond, 25 years in the business. Congratulations.
I know.
What are
I
the
started when I was 10,
highlights?
Mafae. I started when I was... That's what we like about the fashion industry. Everybody lies. Oh my God.
And you know, going back to talking about the history or the main events, what would be the again highlights of your career? Maybe fashion shows or even collaborations that you've had with our amazing designers here or globally that you could share with us that sparked that joy for you in your 25 years of experience.
It's the money. Just joking. Just joking again. Sabi ng mga Filipino, ako ito talaga director na ito. Puro budget. But in reality, it was just working with a group of individuals. You know, I've done almost everyone. From the legends of Philippine fashion to the local designer, the next hottest designer in Manila. I've worked practically every place in the United States. I've been all over the world. I've worked with all the brands. You know, one of my very first shows in Manila when I started was for Armani. So every show, every event that I did was just passion for fashion. It was my love affair with fashion. So I was just so enamored with the design, with the creativity, with the people that was with me. And that just brought me joy. So I was also asked that question, what was my top 10 favorite shows all over that I've done in 25 years? I said, please ask me that question in the next 25 years, and I will give you a whole book. But in the end, you know, Mafae and Agnes and Jeanette and everybody watching, the title of this episode is really passion. So there is no such thing as a favorite time and place when the passion is burning inside you. Your love for your work, any work, whether big, small, I don't understand which is big or small right now. It's the one that identifies you. Aminin natin, your career, in my case, identifies me more than anything else.
Yes. And I could attest to how direct Raymond is right now. He is exactly the same person every time I am with him or to anyone that he's with. So having said that, and also what Miss Jeanette shared earlier, staying humble and always just understanding who has supported you along the way. For you, Direct Raymond, what has built your passion and also your positivity all these years?
So I guess, especially now, during the pandemic, and I guess for everyone that's watching, it was the failures of others that makes you strong. So many have disappeared. You know, in fashion, you're either in or out. My mentors would always tell me that. Study the people that was before you. Study their failures and their success. And make sure that it does not happen to you. The success will make you stressful. The success will make you stressful. The failures will also make you stressful. So wala lang, you'll just be stressed the whole time. Whether you're successful or you're not, you're still stressed. So what do you do now with that? You just have the passion for it. And what is the passion? I mean, natin everybody, ang passion, if you're really paid well, you have the accolades, you're acknowledged. I think in my case, I'm just so happy that, you know, I've been getting really good because I pivoted also to social media. So people were just telling me, you're good. Happy na tayo doon. Actually, di ba, Mafae, yun lang ang pinaka-importante sa atin in our industry. When people just say you're good. It's not the money, it's not... When people say, ang galing mo, magaling ka, ang ganda ng design mo, we are happy with that. And that builds and fuels our passion.
Yes. And for upcoming designers who are facing some challenges right now, and even eventologists, because currently we are having a hard time to even do a face-to-face event. It's all online, as you mentioned. What would be your biggest advice for them to just be patient and just be excited for what's to come?
You know, I would have said the same thing 2 years ago when this pandemic started. But we're losing our patience already. There's no such thing as patience. Anybody who says that, oh, we're going to have a great time next year, we said that in 2021, and it still didn't happen. So what do? There is a huge, they call it mass resignation all over the world. You, right now, this is the time to build your own life. Ngayon, for every Filipino. I was also asked that question a few weeks ago. Do it now. Do everything now. If you're just going to wait for tomorrow, tomorrow will never come for you. I had to do it. I had to pivot to social media because I had no more shows, everybody. Wala akong trabaho. In fact, the second to the last to have a job post-pandemic are directors or events people like me. We will never have a job anymore. So what do? You have to do something. Everybody has gone to design, food, lifestyle, social media. Do everything now, but with your passion. Kung ang passion mo ay gumawa ng painting or gawin mo na yun. A lot of people have told me they bake leche flan. They're the best now in baking leche flan or cooking. Diba? Kasi kung ano gagawin mo, maghihintay tayo. Ang mga Pilipino all over the world, walang ganyan. Lahat tayo, we're moving on. And that's why we went abroad Lahat tayo, we went abroad. We've greener pastures. Kasi we won't wait. Ano ba? Maghihintay lang tayo. Ang mga naghihintay, I noticed, wala, manlaki yung hips nila. Charing lang. Charing lang, ha? I'm not body shaming anyone, but I'm just saying, you can't be lazy anymore. You cannot now. Now is not the time to be lazy. Because if you start being lazy and just say, I will read the lang spiritual scriptures, wag na lang. Move, everybody. All Filipinos all over the world move. And by moving, we mean you better make sure you are your own boss, you are your own creation. Be a creator, never a creation.
Yes. And I'm totally happy and honored that you are here as our guest. And like you mentioned, you pivoted online. So maybe you want to share with everyone what that amazing gift that you have for everyone online is.
Everybody, you have to go online na talaga because I went online. Okay. I have a live cast also every Sunday at Halo Halo Station. Absolutely fab. With Raymond Villanueva, where for the next 2 hours, I will show the different facet of my flower. That's the only thing I show. The different one. And I keep changing 25 times. Yun lang. Why? Like I said, I had to pivot also. We all have to pivot. All the Filipinos all over the world are doing it now. Diba, gumagawa tayo yung paraan. Sabi nga ng mga co-directors ko, buti pa tayo, gumagawa tayo ng paraan. Na yun ang time gumawa ng paraan. Kasi kung hindi tayo gagawa ng paraan, nga ang nangyayari sa atin. So Mafae, Agnes, and everyone watching, just, passion lang talaga. Before we didn't care about passion, ano ba yun? But now, you really need it talaga, Mafae. Kasi I've seen a lot of people talaga just losing their passion for living. Diba? And now, guess what, everyone? They're using that now as an excuse. People are using now no passion as an excuse for doing nothing na lang. I won't do anything. I'll just wait na lang. Nakakaloka, sabi ko. Uy, mga ining, Wag naman. You have to do something. The first step, everybody, gumawa kayo ng leche flan. Kasi masarap siya. Diba? Aminin natin, yun ang pinakaboga, ha? Filipino food is now the #1 food in the whole Philippines, Mafae, including my leche flan. Diba? I was forced to bake leche.
Yes, so good. Yes, it was so good.
Ayan, na overtime na ako, Agnes. I'm so sorry.
No. We still have some time with you, actually. If
Okay.
Raymond Villanueva can make a change in his career path and
Yes.
still find joy with his passion, I truly believe everybody else can. And with that, direct Raymond Villanueva, is fashion a passion for you?
Because that is my identity. That is the career I've taken. And for the past 25 years, I have not changed. I have not worked in any other field except this field. So when the fashion industry in a way disappeared during this pandemic, I didn't know what to do. Sabi ko, oh my God, what will I do? Magko-call center ba ako? Gaganito ba ako? I couldn't do anything because I didn't know what to do. Remember? So I think a lot of people, in divine timing. I had a guest who said, in divine timing and in divine order, it will come. But just don't wait for it. You grab it na rin. Okay? And remember, you are very young. Very young. Diba? So when you're very old naman, you are never too old or young for new beginnings.
Yes. And as you can see, many, many more learnings from Raymond Villanueva. And do please tune in on his show, which is airing again.
Yeah, we're actually Mafae. Mafae was my last guest before I finished my 1 year in that. Then all of a sudden, because yung mga kaibigan ko, si Omicron, si Delta variant, si COVID-19, dumating sa Pilipinas, wala, nanganga kami dito. What did I do, Mafae? Then we did a fundraising. We did a fashion show, but this time we did it for a cultural area in Taal, Batangas. So, pwede pala, marami tayong magagawa in the meantime. Diba? And now, my last word na lang to everybody, if you don't have a career, don't eat na lang para maging sexy ka pa rin. And then, the fashion is better and brighter and bolder. Diba? So, wala na, magandang katawan. Diba?
And there you have it. The reason why I have Raymond Villanueva in my life is to keep me grounded and keep me laughing and smiling. So, Miss Agnes, as you can see, this was a very amazing interview today because we have none other than Raymond Villanueva, fashion director, eventologist, live from Manila, Philippines.
Thank you, Mafae. Thank you for having me. When I heard the Filipinos world, this is what life, that is our passion, actually. All the Filipinos all over the world.
Exactly. And we will be right back, Filipinos World, and just watch this real quick break.
Thank you.
Cause it's you who fills the emptiness in me, changes everything I see when I know I've got you with me.
Kayo ba ang mga Maria Clara, mga huli at mga sisa na di
Welcome back. You're still watching with us live here in the Filipinos world. Miss Mafae, I was really having a good laugh with your interview with Raymond Villanueva. He has so much to say about not just fashion, but passion.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that struck me with that interview is he said, do what is your passion, and later on you will be able to prove your worth and yourself
Mhm.
where you're good at.
Yes.
Mga kababayan, hindi lang itong pag-unawa tungkol sa fashion industry or the fashion world, but it's more about knowing how we as Filipinos or how we as individuals can make our lives better in this time of pandemic or the crisis. All right. For questions, comments, no, not questions, suggestions, comments, feedback, please get in touch via our email, thefilipinosworld@gmail.com. You may also follow us in Instagram and YouTube channel, The Filipinos World. If you want to become one of our sponsors, you may please send us your intent via email at thefilipinosworld@gmail.com. And if you want your story to be featured in the Filipinos World, and you believe you are one of those Filipinos who inspire other Filipinos, please let us know and write us your intent via email, thefilipinosworld@gmail.com.
We wish to thank all our guests for today, Miss Jeanette Muhar, fashion designer and all the way from Vancouver, Canada, and Raymond Villanueva, fashion director, eventologist, for gracing here in the Filipinos World. The Filipinos World would like to thank to Mr. Paul, Mark Vicious, EP, technical staff, Mr. Dio, Malinaw, Gaagapay, ako ng OFW's KCA. Ako Bakwit Inc. And to all supporters and viewers of the Filipinos World.
Ms. Mafae, before we finally close this show for this afternoon, we'd like to thank Miss Jeanette Muhar for staying with us. Miss Jeanette, if there's one thing you'd like to impart to the Filipinos and especially to the migrant workers all over the world, can you please share that? Hello.
Thank you very much for having me in your show, and I just would like to tell to every migrant worker to just know, if you know that you have a skill, know the people that you know who to approach with, and gawin mo kung ano mga dapat gawin. Huwag kang basta-basta lang makontento na natuto ka na. Mas maganda yung mas mahigitan mo.
Maraming salamat. And Direct Raymond, I want to laugh more.
We need to laugh. That's the most important thing. Because if you don't laugh, your face will be very long.
Of course, Miss Mafae.
Yes, so I'm grateful. I'm grateful again to be part of the Filipinos World. I hope that all the Filipinos around the world narinig nyo yung inspiring stories and journeys of Derek Raymond and also Miss Jeanette, who is more than willing to give such amazing advice. And every day, like I always mention to everyone I talk to, every gising is a blessing. So make sure you create positive habits because your habits create your future.
Di ba ang ganda if the world would just have this kind of perception in life, bringing in positivity and lifting each other. Kasi like what I've mentioned offline kanina with Direct Raymond, ang daming mga taong they're struggling behind closed doors and we don't even know what's the story behind that. So ngayon, let's support each other. Let's have this moment in a Zoomista, inspire, be an inspiration, be an instrument of moving the hearts and mind of individuals. Who knows? We don't really know the story behind this.
Right, that's very true. I'd just like to add, that's one thing nice about what's happening now. I remember I had an event and there was this lady in Manila who said something like, what are you doing here in the new normal? And I said, the next normal is pleasantness within and pleasantness around you. Yun lang. That's why that is the answer to your question, Ms. Agnes. Why are people going through so much? Because there is no
Yes.
pleasantness within and pleasantness around you. If there are things that are pleasant around you, ma-happy ka. Now, how do you start pleasantness? By cleaning your room.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Pag
true.
maganda ang kwarto mo sa umaga, pleasant na ang buhay mo. Yun lang, everybody. So, ha? And how do you clean your room? I always say, I did this. These are my top 10 tips every time Mafae knows it's in my show. What makes you happy? You clean your bed. Yun lang.
Yes.
Yun lang. You just, Mafae, I'll be honest. Can I just add lang 2 seconds? A lot of people are so unhappy, they don't fix their beds. Yun lang.
Uncluttered bed may have an uncluttered mind.
Yes, that's so true. Ay, naku, I see so many people like that. Especially mga models. They never fix their bed. Every time I go to the room, sabi ko, ang dumi ng kwarto na ito. Nakakaloka kayo.
Oh my
So, but
goodness.
everybody, just have pleasantness within and pleasantness around you. Just make it pleasant. Kahit hindi kayo kumakain, sabihin mo, papayat ako at gaganda ako at maganda ang fitting ng damit ni Jeanette Mujar sa akin.
Yeah, made from a Filipino
Thank you,
designer.
everyone. Namaste.
You are so lucky to have Miss Mafae with you around kasi ang lagi kayong nagtatawanan over there.
Yes, always.
That's so important. Oh my goodness.
And thank you so much. Miss Jeanette, thank you so much and good luck to you. I hope there will be possible collaboration. You know, who knows? You know, we there's always a possible discussion behind offline, I would say. For this is say we bring the Filipinos closer to the world. We bring the world closer to the Filipinos and the Filipinos closer to each other. This has been your
Yes, this has been
KTFW
your
Agnes,
KTFW.
together with Miss Mafae Yunon-Belasco, live from Makati City, and Miss Jeanette Mujar, live from Vancouver, Canada, and fashion director, eventologist, Raymond Villanueva. Stay safe, everyone, and thank you for joining with us here in the Filipinos world. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maraming salamat.
It's more fun.